We were right, you were wrong. And the subject of this is Ben Simmons. Because, folks, we didn't just throw out hot takes about Ben Simmons. We watched Ben Simmons. We watched him at LSU knowing that he was going to probably be a Philadelphia 76er. We watched him play for the city. We went through the whole year, the first year of him not being able to play. Then we watched him come into the league. We watched him in summer league. And then, we watched him not really develop. We saw him got to get a little bit better at defending in the NBA. He was good, really good coming in. He was, I'd say, great by the time he left. But he took that step forward in that. But the offensive game never really developed. We tried telling people it wasn't going to work. It wasn't just us. Those Philly fans, they ride a guy like that. They created the toxic environment. Joel Embiid disrespected him. Doc Rivers disrespected him. They didn't want anything to do with Ben Simmons anymore. Could not be further from the truth. The play that we all know about, the pass to Thibault, it will go down in infamy, right? Go down in the record books. That is something that most of us put our hats on the table. We just said, you know what, we're out. No thanks. We're forget this guy. There's no helping this guy. If he doesn't come back from this, if he cowers in that moment, then what good is he? He won't even dunk a basketball in a dunker's spot. What good is he to this team? That's not a guy who wants to win. That's a guy that literally wants to pass the buck and the responsibility to somebody else. Like, I could get a guy going out there and being 0 for 11, but at least he's shooting. Ben Simmons, that's not really his bag, man. So the world tried to tell us what Ben Simmons was. And we're like, who the hell are you to tell us in Philadelphia who Ben Simmons is when we have literally ate, slept, breathed his game for 5 years here in Philadelphia? 4 years of that playing. Who are you to tell us who Ben Simmons is? We had the front row seats to this circus since he's been in the league. Oh, when he goes to the Nets, watch out. When he goes to the Nets, watch out. Now, why is this relevant today? Because I hate talking about our exes. I saw a Carson Wentz clip yesterday where he's doing an interview down there in D.C. He's talking about, what he's going to bring to the table in D.C. And I'm like, oh, well, listen to this guy. It didn't work out in Philly. It didn't work out in Indianapolis. It's going to work out, though. Despite having Frank Reich in Indianapolis, it's going to work out in Washington. Because y'all know how that franchise never makes a mistake. And he says, I'm going to be the same guy. I feel like I've been the same guy. I feel like, there's been some struggles. And I'm like, listen to this. I'm like, I should play this on the show. And then I'm like, no, I don't care that much about our exes as some other people do. But when the Ben Simmons thing comes up, and I can do the proverbial football spike and just look at everybody else and say, as a city, as a fan base, we told you so about Ben Simmons. Oh, I chop at the bit to do that. So Rick Butcher goes out there, and he does an interview with Colin Cowherd. And he's talking about the Brooklyn Nets fiasco and Kevin Durant wanting out and giving the Nets an ultimatum, which we'll get to as well, because that's what it's led to. So Butcher goes out there, and he's talking about Ben Simmons. And if you remember, there was some speculation in last year's playoffs about Ben Simmons playing in Game 4 against the Boston Celtics. There was some conversation about Ben Simmons making his Nets debut in the playoffs before Game 4. Little rumbling, little chat started out. Turns out the team, as you would expect, had a little group chat going on. And we've all been part of a group chat. Maybe you're making plans. Maybe you got something going on. Maybe you guys have been talking about doing something for a long time. And they got this thing going on. The Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant and company. Texting about group chat. Ben Simmons, apparently this is the way he handled it. Take a listen to this.
Ben Simmons, they're having a team chat before Game 4, thinking he's going to play against the Boston Celtics. And from what I'm told, Ben just left the chat. They asked him, are you going to play? Ben left the chat. Like, he didn't even answer the question, just left the chat. And Katie's like, this is what I signed up. Like, this is who I'm playing with?
Woo-hoo! Oh my, oh, that is great. Wow. Oh, we told you so. Oh, That is just, that is rich. That is rich in comedy. Whew. Oh, man. When everyone, especially in the New York market with Brooklyn, was telling us how we rode Ben Simmons too hard, how Philly was the toxic environment, how Ben Simmons himself in his introductory press conference with the Brooklyn Nets said that Philly was a toxic place. We were the problem. We were the problem. And here it is. We knew all along. You just wait and see there, pal. And pal is everyone outside of Philadelphia to try telling us something about Ben Simmons. It's like somebody walking up to you and telling you something about your kid. Like, you don't, first off, no. Second, who wants to hear that anyway, especially when you know more? And then it's just, you listen to Ben Simmons tell us something about we were the toxic environment. I don't think so. Literally, guys from Philadelphia wanted to go out to visit Ben Simmons in Los Angeles and chop it up. Even Tyrese Maxey, who was working out with Ben Simmons. And Ben's like, nah, man, let me save you a trip. Save you a trip. Yeah, don't bother coming out here. Doc Rivers reached out to Ben Simmons the day after we played the cut the other day about him talking about with Vince Carter. Oh, I talked to Ben right away. Apparently it was too late. Even before then, though, Ben said he wanted out of Philadelphia. When Doc Rivers had nothing to do with it. As far as that goes, I just doubt it. I highly doubt it. But just remember, we were the problem, not Ben Simmons. We were the toxic environment. Ben Simmons didn't help create a toxic environment, which it apparently seems like he has done in Brooklyn with the Nets. Because after you leave a chat, we all know what that means. You don't want to hear it. Like, you ever leave a chat? I've never left a chat. Because I feel like I that's like hanging up on somebody. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. It means nothing to me. Click. That's what it is. To leave a chat, and just imagine the way it popped up and their reaction when he left the chat, and Ben Simmons has left the chat. And it's just like, what? Seriously? We're asking if you're going to play in the playoffs and help us win? Oh, you want me to play in the playoffs? Oh, God. Did you guys see my last play in the playoffs? You guys don't want that. That was to Kevin Durant. That was his pass to Thibault.